Assalamu alaikum everybody. So later on in that same day, and I have to be more quiet because it's late at night here, just finishing up these vlogs. We're driving through one of the mountain villages, and I hear that this is where like a former prime minister or president actually came from. So it's very interesting. And I see a Palestinian flag hung up. Again, this is hours into the mountains. I mean, you have to go there a long time and you still see it. And it just goes to show you how important this Palestinian-Israeli conflict is. You have people in the middle of the mountains in northern Turkey who are concerned about it. I met one of the guys on the flotilla who's from Samsun, and another guy who wanted to go and he just couldn't. He didn't make the cut. Like he signed up too late or whatnot. I mean, this is a really important thing, and I hope that it can be resolved soon because it affects so many people, and a lot don't realize its significance. Anyways, so that evening we went to Uzun Göl, and Uzun means long, and Göl, I'm saying it terribly, means lake. It's very beautiful, although I admit it was kind of overrated based on what I read, Lonely Planet, all the online reviews and stuff. It's beautiful. We ate dinner there. I had trout and kebab. It was really good. It was really tasty. So, let's just say I was with some people who had some replica guns with fake barrels, and they shoot blanks, but they can become real guns, pistols. And so they were shooting, and then on the porch in Trabzon, apparently Black Sea people love to shoot, especially at weddings. And the other people got shooting, and the other people got shooting. So they're shooting their pistol. It's the middle of the night. Okay, but I admit, I shot like twice, and then I stopped. Because it didn't even have the kick of a real pistol. It was just really light. So they're shooting, and then I'm like, this is dangerous. I mean, there were kids there. Yeah, there were kids who were shooting, basically. I'll just be frank. And then other people were shooting, and then this one guy pulls out this automatic machine gun, and he's like, I don't think that was blanks. I think he was just shooting into the air. My physics teacher in high school said that a few people die every single year in the world because bullets fall down. Not very safe. Anyways, that shut us all up. And then I got very, very pissed and mad because I'm certified to be I have my hunter's certificate and stuff, and I have a rifle myself, and I'm all about safety with firearms. You have to be very safe. Look, you have the right to have firearms. I'm totally down with that. Go hunting, go to the shooting range, even if you don't want to go hunting. That's totally cool. But you got to be safe. And the first rule in hunter safety is you never point the barrel in an unsafe direction. So I got a shotgun pointed at my face by a little kid, and I wanted to kill him, but I didn't. I was calm. But I was very mad because that is very dangerous. Now it wasn't loaded and it didn't have any it didn't have any shells in it, but that's not cool. So, yeah, not cool at all. And yes, I was not happy. I don't like guns being pointed at me or knives or any sort of weapons. I don't point it at anybody else, and I don't want it. I want the same. So again, it's this whole idea of, yeah, this is cool. I believe that humans should know how to shoot guns, and I'm all about right to bear arms, and I'm all about slaughtering. But when children are involved, yeah, it's not a good idea. Now, the next day in Trabzon, I'm going to go into that. We had breakfast. It was a new local dish. Basically, so they're pickled beans, like some in a pod, some out, and then they fry them in butter. You think it tastes nasty, right? It's actually pretty good. I loved it. And then we went to Sümela, the monastery. That is very famous. It's up in the mountains. Oh my God! So these like monks went there and they just like lived there, and it's very beautiful. This one's totally worth the trip. It's carved out of the mountain. It was in the 4th century CE in the Christian era, and we ended up walking down the mountain from the top down a trail, which was so cool. And we just saw a dog chilling there. You know what? I still have time, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this up and include the Samsun last day. We went to Samsun later. I tried to get my phone fixed because it had been 2 weeks since I got the whole Kiadet, I forgot what it's called, but basically the registration so that the government unblocks my phone. I go to Samsung, they say, hey, nobody even tried to register it. I'm just like, Avea, you're killing me here. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll have to go back to Istanbul and figure it out. There were troubles on the bus going back home. So in Turkey, when you register for these buses that go across these cities, what ends up happening is You register online and you have to sit next to a person of the same sex. So if I'm a male and I'm single, I'm just alone, and I purchase one seat, the person sitting next to me has to be a male, otherwise it can't be sold. So apparently this one guy bought a seat, and there was only one seat left on the bus from Samsun back to Istanbul, and this one lady bought it, but she didn't buy it online, and the guy who sold it to her told her, no problem, we'll figure it out there. So there's just this big fight. I mean, nobody's screaming, but they're just going from couple to couple, and hey, can you switch? And they're like, look, I want to sit next to my spouse for the next 12 hours. I'm not going to switch for this lady. And this lady also had a kid. Um, so yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of problems. It made us really late, like 30 minutes or whatnot. And same thing with the prayer issue back, but whatever, it's expected. Um, and I'm sitting there, trying to read or get some shut eye, very bad shut eye. And I feel the person behind me kicking the back of my feet, like the back of my shins. And I'm just like, dude. And I look down, and the feet were coming out pretty far. I was like, how is that possible? And I turn around me and I look at the lady, and she's just like looking at me like nothing's wrong. I'm like, that's impossible that her feet could reach. So I just like look down, and the little kid was under my chair. There was a little kid under my chair, and he was like 3 years old. I didn't know what to do, and he was like sleeping and moving around, and I felt so bad because he was really uncomfortable. I think it was the son of the lady who bought her ticket late. I don't know. It was a messed up situation. She like sat up front, and I don't know, messed up. Anyways, Turkish hospitality, over and over, I keep seeing amazing like displays of hospitality. The people I stayed with were so nice. I mean, they were so nice. I can't tell you how nice they are. I only was a I wasn't even allowed, but I bought like two little cookies for when we were next to the Black Sea. You see some Black Sea pictures. We just sat there and drank some tea, took a break, and that was an insult because I bought these little cookies. I mean, they just wouldn't let me pay for anything, and they were so nice and generous. Oh, and the mom made pide. Oh, so delicious. It's like pita bread, kind of, but not really. This dough stuff, and there's meat inside, and it's very good. It's very delicious. And so I had a wonderful time, and that was basically my. I'll say it was my best Eid in the past few years, and one of the best Eids in my life, for many many reasons, as you saw. And then just I'll add on an interesting thing that happened. Oh, end of phone troubles. I get to Istanbul, and I go to the Avea in Kadıköy, and I'm like, hey, this is still not working. He shows me the registration, and I was like, okay. And he's like, we're just gonna have to do it again. I was like, it's been 2 weeks. You remember me. And then so they have this plan that if you call for 20 minutes, you only pay 50 kurush, 50, so basically like 50 cents, 50 kurush, yeah, 50 cents, sure. Uh, which is great. But you have to keep paying 20 lira every single month. So I was like, look, my phone has not been working for 3 weeks, or I think it was a month too. And I was like, it hasn't been working for a month. So I couldn't pay the 20 so you could keep with this deal. He's like, you can buy a new SIM card, but we're not going to change it. I was like, you're the one who registered it, and the registration didn't work, so I couldn't make any phone calls, and therefore I don't get the deal. And he was just like, sorry. And so I just looked at him and I told him in Turkish, I was like, I've used this phone, this BlackBerry, I've used this in England, I've used this in Germany, I've used this in Egypt, in Syria. I mean, bad technology. I've used this in America. I've never had this problem before. I told you in Egypt there was a slight problem after like 3 months, but I just went there and I got it fixed immediately. They're like, it should work within 5 seconds, and it did. Um, and I was like, only in Turkey. And then one of the guests, I could hear him saying he was kind of ashamed of the turkey thing. But yeah, I was not happy. So, alhamdulillah, that's over. And oh yeah, so today I was going to Kadıköy, and I saw this little kid. He was like 3 to 5 years old, and he was just walking around. It was a very crowded area. He's just walking around to the back, and I was the only one. I just stopped and I kept looking at him. I saw him go like 50 meters. There was no one in sight who was looking after him. He could have easily been kidnapped, and that was not cool. So yeah, now all caught up on the video blogs and the vlogs, or whatever they're called, and I got the pictures up, and so yeah, look forward to more exciting, interesting stuff. Take care. Good night. I'm going to sleep. Assalamu alaikum.